was indeed locked in. We're going to be seeing an Alucard in the grandest stage of them all so far in MSC 2024.
This could be the most insane win for Falcons that we could ever see possible, because we are seeing Royal Milk on an Alucard EXP taking vengeance. Welcome to Land of Dawn. Our very first best of 5 to kick things off here at the knockout stage is Liquid Echo on a blue side up against Falcon Esports on red.
Now, this is very uncharacteristic of me to be optimistic about an Alucard, but hey, putting Brave Smite on it and building it semi-tank might be good, but now in mid, JP and Sanji putting PX7 and Kid X down to, well, a third of their health. Wow, that's a double TKO.
I mean, Falcons Esports, they got to be real aggressive in the earlier stages. I mean, Royal Milk is not going to win this lane very easily, and for the most part of it, when it comes down to team fights, the only way I can see it happening is if the rest of the lanes are doing so well that Royal Milk can be the big cleanup rather than Dax.
All right, so if you're saying the rest of the other lanes, mid and gold, not looking good, because look, Benny's getting bullied out. Here we go, 2v1 up top. Oh, it's easy. Forcing out a vengeance from Royal Milk, and that's going to be it, first blood.
Instantly finding that chink in the armor and punishing it early. Like Wolf mentioned, level 3, find that instant gank, and Liquid Echo are on the board.
So far, again, Sanford is incentivized to go aggressive, builds the casual Fury Hammer, and then can go ham from here. Like, you can just start just greeting out. Because again, what's Alucard gonna do?
I mean, that's true, and he will need some time to scale, right? Ideally, he would like to snowball, but looking at the items and as well as the emblem build so far, like, I'm mostly curious about the duality of the Bennies of the Bennyverse. Benny QT up against Benny on Harith as of right now. The Azure Blade instantly purchased, and I think I mean, both sides want to win their lane. It's not just about hyper farming.
Yeah, but the only difference is Benny from Myanmar has to actually commit the fights. Benny Cutie from the Philippines can actually just look for the fight, send the SOD, and then join in.
For now, they're going to take their time, and here's the first turtle dance of this game. Let's see how they approach it, because again, I'm not seeing level 4s on supports just yet.
Yeah, oddly enough, you mentioned the turtle dance, which is more of the dance we're seeing, less of the Lord dance, because those almost immediately turn into turns. They almost just always collapse into a team fight, but the turtle dance, look at this, it's a thing of beauty. Coming in, Sanford forcing PX7 back into that bush, gets frozen a wee bit. Royal Milk taking control of that northern bush. Carl Easy clean, secure.
Yeah, this is the scary part. Now that JP is already level 4, at any point of time, he can initiate a fight that Liquid Echo can instantly capitalize on, and I think it might be towards this top side of the map. Oh man, Royal Milk, he's going to be taking a beating here. Oh wait, no, they transfer to the opposite side. They deny it.
Yep, why walk? That's what's so scary about Liquid Echo here. They can basically call fights wherever, whenever, and given that they have 1,000 gold lead with the very little effort they're putting in, it's dangerous. PX7 put down half health, in goes Dax. JP from the side lanes, jumping in the shortcut. Down goes Kid X, one more follows, Dax falls.
An instant response from Liquid Echo. And I was already curious whether Sanji really wanted to get the Metamorphosis from Roger, of all people, with the IMU, right? Because there's so many other valuable ults, but he held onto it. You can see that he's utilizing the iframes. Keep in mind, when you use IMU, if there's the transform subtext underneath that ult, you get all the other abilities.
Yep, and he joined the fight as if he was Dax, as if he was the Roger, and that just pushes forward Liquid Echo's momentum even more. Now 2K ahead of their opponents. There's a interesting engage up here on Kid X. It's so tough being Kid X, man. Of everyone, I think, so far, he might be the only one who's actually comfortable. Like, he's the only one who can say, all right, I'm going to play defensive or offensive. When you say so, everyone else has to react to Liquid Echo.
I think... Oh, man. I think it's going to be a little difficult here, but let's see what's happening across the map.
All right, so far up top, Royal Milk is just holding his own. And again, Kid X is getting pushed out of his comfort compared to JP, right? But by JP, who is just doing everything he can to make this gap even larger. Now a level ahead, half an XP bar. Sanji not even leaving this lane, man. Picking up that enchanted talisman. And confirmed, Sanford indeed does greed out first build in the Hunter Strike as the turtle spawns.
Now, for anybody out there who's wondering, man, is Falcon Esports really running with Royal Milk on this Alucard? To clear up confusion here, after investigation, and thankfully with Zipper in my ear telling me this, it is confirmed that FCon had made a human error and picked Alucard, so therefore they will continue the game with Alucard. And yeah, that's just the way it is.
Uh-oh, Kid X with the I'm Offended. The fight continues. They take down Carl TZ. A 3v1 gank squad. Down bottom, not much BennyQ can do. Not at least at 5 minutes. This does open up a big objective for the Burmese squad. Here's your and then we go back into the matchup up top. Oh, just as we resumed. That was PX7 taken down. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, his flicker isn't back up, unfortunately. He lost it pretty early on, but now, oh!
The shortcut. JP says, let's go. Carl TZ continues to wail away at the turtle, respawned during the replay, and now Kid X, he can only hope and wish. Now he's gonna get punished. There's the knockup. Carl TZ gets his sweet, sweet revenge.
The beauty of this, of all of this, is the fact that Falcon Esports are compensating a lot to make sure that they can actually make it to the later stages of the game where you actually feel relevancy. And surprisingly enough, Royal Milk is the one who breaks the tower on the top side of the map.
All right, at least that is one thing that the Alucard has, as much as it pains me to say, he's very sustainable. Even with the Braves line, again, we alluded to this earlier on, compared to Lapu-Lapu who has to actually land the skills and be active in team fights with the bravest fighter and his iframes and damage reduction, Royal Milk can just plant himself into the lane and do as he just did, take tier 1 up top, allowing for the rest of the map to open up for Falcon Esports.
And I think that Falcon Esports, I think this is a great way to kind of handle the situation despite the human error. But PX7, he's got to make sure that he minimizes his deaths, and most importantly, the battle spells need to be available.
Uh-oh, down bottom, I'm Offended. The stolen ult from Sanji. Benny taken down, and they're not going to greed out. They're going to force back Falcon Esports as they penetrate into this. Oh, no waves.
Great clear coming in from Benny, right? At least he knew, if I'm going to die, I'm not going to lose my battle spell. They're definitely going to die me if this wave is here and take my tier 1. I might as well die, clear the wave, and guarantee that I can walk back in.
That's long-term planning from Benny, one of the more veteran members of Falcon Esports. Dax spots Carl TZ there. Carl TZ obliges. Let's go. Dax just playing footsies.
Yeah, they got to be really careful here. And I think what Liquid Echo is really good at is following up upon each other. Because I'm not going to lie, it's pretty difficult to land the chains sometimes, unless it's the enhanced chains. That's a different story. But when you do land that singular chain, the follow-up from the rest of Liquid Echo, it's overwhelming. Could this be a pick here? Could Dax be looking to bait something out? Because a lot of pressure on the bottom side of the map.
If anything, Dax is one of the few who can actually do that. Low committal, can actually just like and pounce out of dangerous situations. Kid X forcing a fight here. BennyQ, oh, nope. Benny at that. BennyQ just switches it up. Suddenly in the top lane, taking down Royal Milk. 1v1. And now the turtle, the last one on the map, secured here by Liquid Echo, as Falcon Esports just stays to their own side.
This game is so fast-paced. Like, both sides are struggling for tempo in their own way. Liquid Echo looking for more structures on the map, while Falcon Esports are trying to push and pull against them to see where exactly this pressure is going to be applied.
Yeah, struggle is a relative term. Like for Liquid Echo, it's more of perfection. It's more of a polishing of what they're actually doing. For Falcon Esports, man, they're playing with less than a full hand, if you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
They started with an Alucard, got the early push, and if you look at the stats, between a Moskov and a Roger, if there's a Roger on the map, it should win more often than not. But by the way the things are going, 7-1, about 5,000 between both. Oh,
now,
man.
I mean, people need to keep in mind that, like, Roger is flexible. It can go into the jungle, and it also can go into the gold lane. So that's why we have the theoreticals here and the number of matchups. 14 times we've seen this matchup, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in gold. So keep that in mind when we're looking at this data. For now, 60 seconds until the very first Lord spawns. And so far, with the 5K gold lead that Liquid Echo has, like, I'm expecting Falcon Esports to just play safe, wait to counter-engage.
Just let it happen. All the more that they try to play with fire like this, calling out the shortcut. Benny once more in trouble. Benny wailing away, throwing out the spears. In comes the cavalry, literally, and they clap back. The down goes Benny Cutie. Dax going on hunting. JP up next, still alive, but just barely in comes Carl Easy with the chains, and they take one more down. Make it another, serving up the human calculator, the apex predator, Sanford.
Oh my goodness. Let's look at the replay one more time. As they pull away, the first initial engagers are already down, but Sanford makes sure that they look real juicy in this fight as they fall into the enhanced chains and turn the fight around. Honestly, just a breath of fresh air to save them that fight. That could have easily been 4 kills. He wouldn't.
No, don't do it. Don't greed out. This will punish Benny. There's no way Benny Cutie can survive that. But yeah, again, looked very, very dangerous for Liquid Echo there, but little did we know there was an interception from down bottom where Carl Easy would come through, and we're back at square one. Yeah, despite having a shutdown on to Benny Cutie, Falcon Esports back up against the corner, up against the ropes, could not even consider contesting that Lord.
As of right now, I feel like the meta is so tempo-based, right? That's what a lot of these teams are trying to do. It's not about like sticking around these neutral objectives because it's really difficult to stand around the Lord now, to play that Lord dance. So now it's about how much momentum can we generate, right? And more so, if somebody recalls, that might be just sacrificing a lane to a certain degree, right? That means it allows teams to set up for the potential dive, to cut off your waves and really dictate where the fight is going to be on your side of the map.
Which is one of the more smarter things that I think the devs have gotten done here in this current metagame. They've made team fights a little faster. They've made heroes move more around the map. And as you mentioned, a recall, that's as good as a technical knockout. Like, you're out of the fight unless you're like a Chip or like an Angela or a Moscow, which again is why these heroes are so in demand. You're out of the fight. That's it. You lost your team that opportunity. Carl Easy stealing away the orange, depriving Falcon Esports of these resources. Another chains up behind. Kid X in trouble. Oh no. The shortcut keeping him barely alive. And the Lord still swinging up top. Dax running through targets. Frigid Ice from a PX7, clearing the waves, popping the holy shields. They continue the aggression.
Well, this is interesting, though. Can they get the inhibitor? I feel like it was quite a bold move initially when we saw Sanford flicker forward onto Kid X and hopefully trying to trade flicker for flicker. And I think Kid X did a wonderful job pulling backwards and still surviving, because that battle spell is going to be the big difference in these upcoming fights.
He held his ground.
He held his
ground. And he needs this big ticket battle spell. It's what can allow for them to punish Liquid Echo even if they think they're safe, even if they're far from inhibitor range. Kid X can put them into turret range.
I think the term we're looking for is the counterplay ability that enables Falcon Esports to turn things around. But let's look at the goal distribution as of right now. In terms of minions, just wow, okay, that didn't seem 100% correct there, but let's see. Dax already with the endless battle. Oh no.
Oh no, the counter playability to the counter playability, because you pull JP, he brings the rest of Liquid Echo with him, pops the shortcut, and Sanford just pops right back out. Like just maybe 10, 15 feet away. It's like,
10, 50 feet.
I'll stay over here.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. And I think this is a great timing for TLPH, because by the time that Lord spawns, JP is going to get his ult back up. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes down to tempo, right? Being able to dictate the fight with some foreshadowing and foresight of future things to happen, like neutral objectives, is so very important. But let's look at this Alucard build for a second, right? They've already got the Brute Force breastplate, going traditionally to, as you mentioned, that semi-tank build.
Yep, has the Queen's Wings, has the BFB, and I respect that, you know? Game knows game, so if this is what he needs to build, if this is how he needs to play, so be it. Also rocking that Vengeance. Again, we really haven't seen him last that much longer in fights. This hero is just not built for this level of play. So they're working with much less than they could. Now, the Lord just demolished here by Liquid Echo. As Benny Cutie works the opposite side of the map, Falcon Esports knows that this is the defense of a lifetime. Like, they just have to... They have to clear this Lord, and they have to save their base at least. Like, that's bare minimum.
It's bare minimum for sure, but I definitely think that they haven't exactly set up checkmate angle in the most efficient way possible. However, even though they don't have checkmate angle, look at that EXP difference. Sanford just bought the Winter Crown, and I'm guessing that Liquid Echo, they're going to dive for an inhibitor.
Yep, again, you're allowed to greed out in these kinds of situations. So he built the Hunter Strike first, went for a Winter Crown, and can now force a fight. Vengeance by Royal Mick already after the enhanced chains. Top lane inhibitor taken out. The base has been penetrated. Mid and bottom going to be up next. Lord still standing, taken care of by Falcon Esports.
Good defense coming in from Falcon Esports. You sacrifice one inhib, don't worry. But now the second wave start to come through, and it's now desynced.
Step by step, Falcon Esports knows what they have to protect. They know how they can keep this fight going. Now there's an enhanced wave down bottom. Sanford looking to make it stay. Goes down now. The jump in. The response from PX7. Down goes JP. But where's the clapback? Dax jumping through. Saves himself. Sanji with a stolen ult as well. Reset. And Kaldizi looking for one more. Pops the passive on the PX7. In comes Kid X after the conceal, sends Liquid Echo packing.
Oh man, as much as I would like to say that this is an incredible defense from Falcons, they're missing 2 inhibitors, which is going to affect them in the next 85 seconds when the next Lord spawns. It's going to be difficult to walk out, right? Because now Liquid Echo have so much tempo and they can keep on holding it against Falcon. Oh, you want to walk up to the Lord? We'll just wait for the waves to push into your base. It's your choice.
Yep, I'll have to amend my statements about Sanford greeting out. It's actually him just bum rushing builds. Like, he's just having such a good time, an easy time on the map. 3-0-4 on this Lapu-Lapu that he was able to build not just a full Hunter Strike, not just a couple of good defensive items, but also the Winter Crown.
I think there is a certain level of foresight here, right? Because again, he's already got the Athena shield. He knows that Benny is going to be the big guy who chunks him out. And Dax, yes, he's already level 15, accelerated super fast into the game, but if he stops the Lycan Pounce reset, that's already a very big win for Liquid Echo. It forces Dax to actually take a step back and reconsider the options, even if he trades 1 for 1.
And that's just Sanford we're talking about. What else the rest of Liquid Echo? Again, JP, a one-man initiation machine. Sanji, just ever the versatile Swiss Army knife of both engage, crowd control, damage, and then you have Benny Cutie, who we really haven't seen much doing, right? So that means he's just a soon-built artillery machine. Like, he's only really been working on turrets.
I mean, he has only been working on turrets, but let's not forget, the last time we were casting Liquid Echo, I mentioned it before, it's about the insurance policies. And Benny, he's up there, he's just like, we got the premium on this one. He's got full build. He also made sure that he has the winds of nature, but at the same time, his counterpart, Benny from Falcon Esports, he's full build.
That's right, yeah, so Benny is also a force to be reckoned with, has to be respected. Because again, yeah, Sanford does have the Athena shield, but that can only last so long. He has to pick a target. It has to be PX7, it has to be Dax, or maybe even Benny, but it's just one of those at a time.
I think the hardest part is that even if they want to get multiple people, if you commit too hard on PX7, right now he doesn't have his passive, but when it comes back up, that's when Liquid Echo really have to kind of shift their objectives. But at the same time, right, when we're talking about the Frigid Glacier, it is a large area that it covers. It's a huge AoE, especially once you're kind of funneled in towards the crystal.
Which makes Liquid Echo's job not impossible, but relatively difficult despite the draft having been compromised for Falcon Esports. Like, they are making the most of a bad situation. Now they're looking for the GG push. Mid lane up next on the docket. Massive Lord up top. Dax put down a half health after 3 spears from Benny Cutie. A force of nature. Royal Milk is still holding on to his ult, holding on to his battle spell. Already a little bit of a pull from Sanji. The stolen ult from Kid X, and that's all very low members. Royal Milk falls. Lord has fallen as well. Sanford coming into the back line. Bravest fighter into 3. Gets his immortality pop. The base is still standing, but taken down just as quickly. Liquid Echo scores 1.
Wow, what a fight. What a base defense.
Come out today. And who'd have thought that up until the very last pick, Liquid Echo would swerve us by putting the Roger back into the gold and putting a very comfortable hero into the hands of Kaldizi. He gets his Akai.
I mean, it's a beautiful draft here from both of these teams, both looking to get a win against each other as we go into the second match here at the Land of Dawn. Falcons Esports on blue side, Liquid Echo on red. I'm expecting things to get exciting at level 4, but immediately Sanji losing out his... Whoa, okay, a flicker coming in from Kid X as well. That is rather strange. I guess maybe he had an opportunity?
That's what you call a face check.
That is called a face check. I mean, Sanji's missing his Purify.
Oh, so he did force it to trigger. That's about a minute until Sanji gets it back. And this is, oddly enough, Sanji forced to respond. He's forced to just hunker down and get his EXP. He doesn't want to go home.
I think at this point of time, there's just, it's too much of a sacrifice to get a TKO so early on into this match, but he does find the trade back.
Bang!
Can they break the passive? Oh, beautiful stuff.
They know. Kid X jumping in, catches JP, and Sanji hitting the basics and the skills.
Oh, this is so rough. This is so rough. From what previously, I thought that Liquid Echo, man, without that mid lane, maybe they lose Litho Wanderer. Luckily, Kaltizi is able to win out on that retreat. But even worse so, having to recall for the side of PX7 and missing out an entire wave on top of that, he's going to be a full level behind eventually.
Yep, so what Falcon Esports look to start against Sanji, claps back against him. Sanji holding his ground here. And the jump by Kid X! Could this be it? Oh, the bouncing ball keeping him stationary. Oh, the Burmese draw first blood.
Oh, man. It looks like Sanji is a little uncomfortable dealing with this with Kid X right now on this Kufra. To be fair, it has been a while since we see Kufra come back into these types of games. We've seen only one other time beforehand that Kufra came into play professionally here at MSC. But for the most part of it, Liquid Echo, they got a code switch here.
Yep, now we have the turtle up. Kaltizi holding his ground. Kid X looking for an angle. In retry range, Kaltizi gonna go ahead and get it. Heavy spin on a Kid X, keeping him in place. Sanford gets a kill, and Royal Milk can only watch.
Take the freebies while you still can. Good thing that Liquid Echo is keeping a timer on the battle spells. Kid X still 2 seconds off until he gets it. At the same time, we do see the Ling has been roaming around the map, making sure that he's picking up as much gold as possible. It's really important that you don't lose pressure off of your EXP and as well as your mid lane, because that could result in losing a purple buff. And I mean, Ling and purple buff, they go hand in hand.
That's so Dax. Even if he wasn't playing a Ling, this is the tempo he would like to go at. Up until when he's ready, that's when he's gonna snap the finger, put on the kill switch, and say it's go time. I'm assuming maybe at least 2 core items for him, 2 solid items for the Ling before he actually joins anything, and he's far off, man. Far off.
He's pretty far off. It's gonna take some time. I think this is gonna be a slow burner for the most part of it, unless, you know, we see Liquid Echo kind of like break up apart. But notice them, right? They're moving in kill squads. They're making sure they don't give opportunities. And oh,
nice dodge. Benny Cutie smelt something in his midst, and he lets go. Look at that aggressive first built Sky Piercer.
Yep, he loves doing this, right? He doesn't deviate too much from his build a majority of the time. He usually has 2 go-tos, but as of right now, I think the biggest concern is whether, all right, does he get it?
PX7 gets hit with a stolen ult. They're jumping once more from Kid X. Hyperactive, this roamer from Falcon Esports. Kaltizi catches a freeze from PX7 in mid. I think what they're doing is they're forcing a response from Dax here. The pull! Divine Judgment! Benny Cutie scores a kill on a Kid X.
Yeah, I think as of right now, the rotations coming in from Falcon Esports needs a little bit of foresight, right? I like what they're doing. They're kind of like compromising that mid lane, forcing Sanji to not really walk out of it, but the side lanes are coming at a big cost, right? Benny Cutie is a full level ahead at this point of time, and I think that he has a slight gold lead at this point of time. Top side ends up missing 2 minions on that rotation down to the mid, and I think at this point, Falcon Esports really need to consider how exactly do we approach this? Do we take JP out first and then consider going for more, or do they keep targeting Sanji?
Oh, here we go. I'm offended. Putting Sanford in trouble, forced to flicker out. There's the Primal Wrath. Lord still standing. Kid X gonna go down here. Nah, unless Benny Cutie finds 2 in the west. Down goes 1. Kid X taken out. There's the passive on a PX7. Benny Cutie eventually finds his prey. The fight continues. Liquid Echo starting the turtle pit and all the way right into Falcon Esports jungle.
Yeah, I mean, they're running real fast. Let's look at the replay one more time because they committed so much onto Sanford and was not able to find that kill. As soon as they're out of resources, that's when you see the clap back. I mean, Falcon Esports, it's at this point of time, they need to kind of slow their roll a little bit. Yes, you can use your resources aggressively, like JP flickering forward, but for the most part of it, you're going to need at least 2, like you mentioned, 2 items before they get some real profit.
Yep, so he's got the Berserker's Fury, but something tells me Falcon Esports, they're not happy with the pace that Dax is farming at. Like, they want him to double time. They want him to hustle. Looking at their net worth and their items so far, it seems like it's Benny who's just on schedule. It's just Benny who's been farming up relatively carefree compared to everyone else, and I'm not so sure that's the insurance policy they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, considering that Benny QT was able to join that fight, pick up 2 kills, and an assist on top of that, like...
And then come back.
Well, we'll see, because right now, even when we're comparing EXP, like, Akai is pretty huge, and this is the influence we're talking about.
Yeah. Carl TZ, now look at this, asserting dominance. I dare you, Dax, I dare you. You want this purple buff? Come take it. He can't. Carl TZ stole it away. Grand Theft Purple. Carl has 2 stars.
And that's why considered to be world's greatest jungler of all time. It's so brutal. It's so brutal what Liquid Echo is just doing to Falcon Esports, right? It's not like game 1 where it was about tempo. Now it's about, hey, we've already gotten through the early phase of this game. The real question is, how many mistakes is Falcon Esports going to make?
And it's less about them just tripping up. Liquid Echo are dropping banana peels. Aggressively so. Like, all right, put it here, put it here, put it here. That turtle, the purple fight, right? That was clearly a ego check by Carl Dean and say, you're going to have to do better than that. And again, this is an Akai. He can just click heavy spin whenever he's ready. Speaking of, it's off of cooldown. I don't think there's much they can do here to secure this turtle unless... Oop, clean take.
Very
yeah,
clean
Liquid
take.
Echo wants to force Falcon out of here.
I don't think I guess he's just looking for more information here, right? He does notice where PX7 is, and I think, you know, Carl TZ is at a point where he is just pretty unkillable at this point in time. They don't have a dedicated tank buster as well, and I don't think Benny has enough items to really take him down. Hopefully the item list pops up, because I'm assuming that Carl TZ is going to opt for some kind of MR. Yeah, there it is.
Here we go. MR on the way, right? He actually bum rushed the blade armor.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's prepping up for Royal Milk's basic attacks. He's prepping up for Dax just in case. Doesn't need it anyways, right? Now they continue. They choke out the purple. The I'm Offended coming in from Royal Milk. The jump in from Kid X, but PX7 falls first, and now it's going sideways. Double kill for the Typhoon, Benny Cutie. It's storming out here in Riyadh.
Ooh.
Triple kill for Benny, and they convert into a mid lane tier 2 off camera though. We see Benny pushing out. Can Carl find him?
Oh!
Yes, he does. Gets
No!
the basic recalls for good measure. Where you going, little boy?
No.
Oh, Benny, he's gonna be fine though. He's all right.
I mean, but they're losing so much tempo off of this, right? Look at this. Now Liquid Echo can start moving around the map freely. The next wave that comes in, Benny has to completely sacrifice this.
Yep.
And without that recall, now he has nowhere on the map where he can, like, find that farm. And look, they faked him out so hard. They're just letting the minions do the work.
That's right. They undid his hard work. Here's a quick look at the replay. Honestly, in such a small piece of the map, again, this is just the purple jungle for Falcon Esports. So many things happened. Like, there were so many little fights that Benny Cutie had to keep tabs on to clean up.
Yeah, I think, you know, coming from Liquid Echo's perspective, it's like a 2-pronged attack. It's like there's purple buff, which is super important for Dax, but all of a sudden PX7 is out of position because of that. And that's why I'm saying, how many mistakes positionally can you make from the side of Falcon Esports when you want that traditional front to back and you get hit from 2 sides, especially now that the mid-tier 1 has been opened up and even the mid-tier 2 already cracked open. At this point, Liquid Echo can basically walk around effectively and force Falcon Esports into these forced errors.
And look at that, off camera. We didn't even have to see it much happening. They did more than just blitz it. They casually took the Lord. Scored here by Liquid Echo. Now look at the item gap between these heroes, lane per lane. 1,000 between the Ling and the Akai is much more miserable when you think that damage items are more expensive than tank items.
Totally agree with that. But at the same time, right, keep in mind that Dax is one of the only people who can actually extend this game. A missed I'm Offended coming in from Royal Milk, good attempt. But yeah, hopefully Dax is able to continuously proxy these waves to stall things out. Because right now, it's almost a 10k gold lead on the very first Lord.
Yep. Talking about that proxying, luckily, Liquid Echo does not have the likes of a Chip or a Moskov. So their responses are actually all-in responses. They have to commit. And what was that? A forced flicker on Kid X. Oh, he walked into a lethal bush. Now Benny gonna go hunting. Chases him down. Forces a conceal play. Now Kid X coming in with the jump. The full combo, revenge and rage, and Benny Cutie is going to casually scratch away.
These are not atypical mistakes made by Falcon Esports. I don't know. It feels like they might have been a little tilted from game number 1 because this game pretty much feels pretty... honestly, it feels pretty over for them, right?
Scattered.
It's... I don't see an angle.
Oh, Divine Judgment on Royal Milk. He's expired in mid. They're going to jump in the heavy spin. Up and change. PX7 zip code. Send him straight through. Popping his passive and taken down. Here comes Dax. Tempest of Blades right in, trying to clear the waves. They're down 2 men. This is dangerous.
It's very dangerous, and honestly, something's telling me that Sanji in his past life was an EXP laner and only played Ruby or some sort, because he is just hitting every single stolen. I'm offended.
He was once a jungler. That much I've learned from interviews, but I don't know about EXP laners.
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't seem to miss. Every single I'm offended has been like extending their lead or just game breaking.
That's what ended the last game.
And I think it's going to continue into this one, right? At this point, I don't see a foreseeable future for Falcon Esports to bounce back unless we see Liquid Echo make a huge mistake. And even then, I feel like they could stat check Falcon Esports for the most part, even if it is the penultimate play.
Yeah, that's what makes these utility jungler-based lineups work so well. They're so well-rounded. They're not a coin flip from Assassins where, all right, I made the wrong entry or I didn't burst down the right person. You can find re-engages, and they come relatively cheap. I mean, sure, you have to wait close to a minute when you flub the heavy spin, but that aside, you have so many safe angles to attack from. 20 seconds until this next Lord comes up. Yeah, Dax is close to it, but I don't think he's looking to contest. He's just looking to extend the life that they have here in this game.
Oh my goodness, he's about to get one
no.
shot.
Oh, no.
He doesn't get the
Jump
lightning
in.
pounce.
Wall from wall. Dax run. Dax finally lands. Not enough energy to go. Tempest of Blades through. Gonna get this sword. Get a few hits. He's burning. He's burning. It's hot. He's burning. He survives. Cyclone Eye out. Kid X trying to go put up the wall through, but Benny Cutie jumps in. Tracking. Dax taking him down. Now it's Kid X's turn to get punished. Double kill for Benny Cutie. Wallace while Carl Deasy was taking the Lord. How many stacks does this young man have on his spear, sir?
Oh, that's gotta be so upsetting. Kid X walks out, tries to conceal his boy Dax so that they can both freely walk away with the extra movement speed. They saw the conceal being used by Liquid Echo, so they had no real means to catch up. And now Benny QT has been just taking all of these kills, 8-0-3, and has a GDS. This man is living in the future.
He's running on all fours. Even in human form, it looks like he's in Lycan form. That's how fast he is. Another flicker and a Divine Judgment. Royal Milk taken out by Sanji. The 1 and 2, the alley-oop. Forcing out Tempest of Blades here from Dax. Put in Lord here. At a quarter of its health, a tenth of its health. Taken down. They're alive, but barely breathing. Turret taken down in mid. Top lane as well. It's a bare base left for the Burmese. Are they going to be on match point? Liquid Echo going in with a stampede. Betty's going to try to defend, but it's over. 2-0 for the champions of MPL Philippines.
Oh my goodness, what a brutal game this was. What an absolute beatdown.
We're seeing Zask here in Falcon Esports' possible last stand. That they have to make this work.
I mean, you got to respect it, right? The last time I saw Zask being played was Snapdragon Pro Series, but I think at this point, Falcons, they're already pushed into a corner. They need some sort of answer, and I think, you know, as long as the mid lane is under control, which I think they're still going to prioritize this game, that's probably their biggest driving force.
It has an interesting interaction with the Divine Judgment, even with the heavy spin. The aforementioned IMU with the Dominator Descent. I'm not so sure if Sanji wants to prioritize stealing that, or the penalty zone, or even the implosion, but hey, new interactions and possibly new results here for game number 3.
I think Sanji is most likely going for the penalty zone or the implosion. But then again, you know, in the previous couple of games where he has played Valentina, like, he can get a little wild with it, right? So I think at this point of time, the early game is going to be so important, right? Fighting for these Litho Wanderers, as many neutral objectives as possible. The bigger ones, maybe let the first turtle go through, right? Get PX7 in a better position before considering taking these fights.
Yep. Already you can see here Kid X pushing the boundaries of what he can do with a Tigreal. Its passive actually is a little better against a different mid duo because JP and Sanji both deal magic damage. So he's not as chunky compared to, like, let's say if that was a traditional tank roamer, you know, that deals physical damage. Down bottom, you have Royal Milk versus Sanford. I can see why Stanford's kind of struggling.
Yeah, I mean, no surprises here, right? Even Sanford himself is like, okay, I'm just going to have to wait until level 4 before we can really start trading against each other. And more so, he's not looking to win this lane. It's more so he wants to be able to match the lane against Royal Milk and still show up on time. And, well, I personally think that Liquid Echo, they're targeting Dax hard. He goes in, they've got so many different answers.
Which makes his job a little harder. Oh, no! PX7 gets bursted down. Sanji with a stolen penalty zone. Coming in against Royal Milk, wailing away, and they go up. The response from Royal Milk as well with the flicker fadeaway. All this while they were playing defensively, Carl-TZ secures the turtle. Kid X able to survive, flickers back. Can Dax survive here? Can Dax get away? He has to give up his small camp. Nope, still fighting for it. And Royal Milk, wow, knocks out Sanford.
I think Sanford's a little upset there. He's like, man, well, I mean, that body of the Smith is tougher than usual, but Carl-TZ should be able to find it. Yep, push him away. Wait.
What? Oh, the body of Smith able to keep Royal Milk alive alongside a combination of his brave smite, keeping him topped up. Dax cleans up Benny Cutie as he tries to get away, runs the opposite direction into Falcon Esports jungle. What's going on?
I think we can safely say that Liquid Echo is feeling a little too comfortable here.
Too comfortable.
Way too comfortable. I mean, I have to admit, their decision-making in terms of punishing their opponents, like Sanford flickering, knowing that Zask is at level 4, without the Dominator's descent, he has no means of escape.
Yep. And I think this is a wake-up call for Liquid Echo. Like, all right, we got to take it easy. Again, they are up now by about 300, 500 gold. And an instant replay. Okay, so he did heal up a bit. And I'm sure there was a level of Body of Smith damage reduction that kept him alive from those heavy spin procs.
That's so unfortunate.
Oh, here we go. One more time. Up top, Kid X pulled in. 3-man kill squad from Liquid Echo.
Was that necessary, Sanji? I felt like that was a bit overkill, including the IMU implosion on top of it all. But hey, a kill's a kill, and definitely kind of tells the rest of Liquid Echo, hey, we're not making any more mistakes. Let's guarantee these kills and get back into this game before we start getting comfortable again.
Whatever gets the job done. Despite the fumbles from Liquid Echo, I have a sense that Benny's playing very, very conservatively, like Benny from Myanmar, right? Because he's down on EXP. I'm not so sure what the gold situation is, but I can smell that Benny Cutie actually is a little bit more pushed forward. Now look at them, racing down to the turtle. As Royal Milk and Carl-TZ wail away at it, at less than half health. JP looking in. There's the ult, the implosion coming through. Heavy spin, Tempest ablaze, ult thrown out the window, left and right. Sanji secures a turtle for his team as they all disperse.
Huh? What? How? What? Why is Sanji the one picking up the turtle here? It just manages to survive despite 2 retributions. Sanji, by the way, is the one that picks up that neutral. And at this point in time, everybody's going to start pushing towards the top side of the map. But look at this one more time, right? The implosion comes through, Dax jumps in, and then we finally see the stolen penalty zone actually getting involved. Sorry, Royal Milk coming in with a flicker with the penalty zone to kind of shake things up. And honestly, it's not that bad. I think that Carl did a good job with the heavy spin, but now Dax, he's dead.
Just snapped out of existence. Well, all right. There seems to be a fight that happened here just north of their purple jungle side, and we can only assume what happened. But regardless, that is a huge loss for Falcon Esports. That's a core hero that they shouldn't have afforded to have gone down. I have a theory as to what happened in that jungle turtle fight, but we'll talk about it later. After this implosion coming in, Sanji slain by PX7, serving up a kill.
The overkill on top of overkill. Both sides are like, we need to get the job done. We cannot allow our opponents to be walking away with a sliver of health. Guarantee these kills.
No quarter. Whatever they need to do to make sure that you go down and we find a conversion elsewhere. Because again, a man missing is a spot for Falcon Esports to rotate into. So if Sanji's gone, that means mid can be leaned hard into. And that allows them to keep this gold lead slightly manageable. 1,000 in. Now JP in trouble. Forced into that wall by a Benny. Oh, here comes the Zaman Force. Gets the kill in. That's a roamer. Taken down. But I think, yeah, JP will be back for the turtle, man.
Yeah, he's going to be back for the turtle. And at the same time, we are seeing Sanford actually proxying the wave onto Royal Milk, right? So he's going to be on that turtle first. They can sit on top of it, and we'll see what Liquid Echo decides to do. For the first time, we are seeing that Falcon Esports up by 2 kills, 5-3. But let's bring it back a little bit, right? Because this purple buff is such a big objective for Falcon Esports that Liquid Echo consistently apply pressure.
It's not just an objective, man. It's a necessity.
It's like a mini lord.
For Dax, and if they don't get it on him, then they're fighting half-cocked. Check this out. The ult already spent in by PX7. Sanford checking the flank, making sure nothing comes out. Implosion coming in from Kid X. Royal Milk scores the kill on to Sanji. Now JP, Benny, and Carl walking away. Heavy spin. Oh, they're forced to be on the defense now as Sanford attempts to burst down Dax. Kid X puts up a barrier, checking on JP. Sanford coming back to the scene. Dax scores the last turtle for his team. Flicker out by Sanford. Suddenly, Falcon Esports are alive.
Oh, all right. They're coming back, right? They finally dealt with the tilt. They're realizing, hey, this is our moment right now. If we succumb to pressure, then what does that say about us? Let's show Liquid Echo what we're all about. As we look at this replay here, look at this. Kid X gets 3 people with a flicker implosion, catching 3 of the most important members that could disrupt the combo to begin with. Most importantly, they're still targeting Sanji.
And Sanji is not all the better for it. He's actually down about 200, 300 gold from PX7, who himself hasn't really been having a cakewalk of a time in mid, right? PX7 has been working hard to make this off-meta hero a thing. And Carl Easy walks into that bush, gets pushed in, gets knocked up. PX7 looking for the free hits. Carl Easy forced to use a heavy spin defensively.
Oh.
He gets taken down by the alien dominator coming in from the galaxies. And now JP down to 5th of his health. Revenge strike by Royal Milk. Not enough damage to force a kill on the JP. And they send the cavalry packing. Falcon Esports on the aggressive.
I think that Liquid Echo may have underestimated them a little too much. And again, all of this is just snowballing out of control from the earlier stages of the game, right? If we look at this replay one more time, this was a very interesting decision. I think they weren't expecting Royal Milk to show up for this fight because nobody was visible on the map at that point of time.
Yeah, what this tells me is Falcon Esports have to commit to their flickers. Like, if Liquid Echo haven't been counting flickers down to the second, they have to now. Because so far, back-to-back, those are the team fights that Falcon Esports win.
For the time being, after looking at the goal differences here, Benny QT just ever so slightly ahead of Benny from Falcon Esports. And that's the big insurance policy, right? But that's under a very large condition, where the Liquid Echo could chunk out the members of Falcon Esports effectively. They already have to deal with a bunch of stuff, right? Kid X has his passive to naturally be tanky, and Benny QT will have to wait patiently. PX7 is by far the most annoying hero to deal with for the entirety of the lineup of Liquid Echo. So Sanford, if he's not targeting PX7, he's looking towards Dax and Benny. And for the most part, as long as he's standing around the little alien sentry turret PX7 has, then there's not much you can do. The slow from it is pretty obnoxious.
Yep, and again, the damage that it deals, it's a combination of burst and DOT. So you have to really watch out. Royal Milk here, chunked down by Sanji and Carl. Kid X, check in the corners, clearing these corridors. And now the Lord dance continues.
Interesting.
We've been here about 10-15 seconds now. It's bursting down Dax. Kid X not really checking that northern part of the fight. Royal Milk, he's burning. Oh, here comes JP with a divine judgment. The implosion on the 3 and the pushback. Heavy spin by Carl Teasy. Here we go. Benny dancing on. Drops a 7 for Sanford in trouble. Able to dash away. Dash looking for the secure. Gets the kill. Knocking out Terry Bogard. Straight out for Kid X. 1 for 1 so far. Where is this fight going? Lord gets hard reset. Liquid Echo, majority of them at half health. They're playing around their side as Falcon Esports. Oh, they're playing with fire. Just staying here.
I think they can rush this down, right? I mean, it's a 50-50. Good luck, Dax.
Can they? Here comes Carl Teasy looking for it. Secures the Lord, steals it away, but pays with his life. Oh, wow. You know what? For all intents and purposes, I'll say that's worth it.
I think that's hella worth it. I mean, to be fair, Dax technically shouldn't be in that position anyways. When you're playing against an Akai, you want to be on the outer sides away from those walls. And he's got a 2-level lead on top of Carl Teasy, which again, very surprising, right? Dax has been power farming and also getting attacked in his own jungle. So coming to this point of time, we're seeing the big item power spikes. I'm expecting a BOD coming from Dax at any second now, but for the most part of it, they have taken off the shades, right? They're not tunnel visioning as hard. Royal Milk is doing one thing with PX7, but even Kid X, he's opening his eyes to the rest of the map to see whether Liquid Echo is going to go for that two-pronged attack in game number 2.
And what makes this all the more dangerous for Liquid Echo is the fact that Royal Milk has his Flicker. Benny has his Purify, and we're waiting about half a minute until Kid X gets his Flicker as well. So Liquid Echo have to all the more respect the potential for Falcon Esports to turn this fight upside down. The Divine Judgment on the Royal Milk. Try flickering into that, Liquid Echo says, as they force an ult out of PX7. This is a tough response from Falcon Esports. Sanji coming in with a stolen implosion. Underneath, he gets punished by the turret. PX7 gets a kill. Sanford knocked out as well. Dax picks up his BOD. Now he's gonna hurt a little bit more. The conceal from Kid X. Spot Carl TZ. Where you going? There's enough damage here. Looking for it. One more hit. Oh, the killing spree for Dax. Falcon Esports are online.
Liquid Echo is overheating. That was such a cool play, but between the Dominator's Descent, you basically you put him between two turrets, the tier 1 and the ult coming in from PX7. And as much as JP was absorbing a little bit of the damage, they quickly turned it around. Like, great engage from Sanji's side, but was this the correct decision to make? I don't think so. I think that Liquid Echo was just being overly confident that Betty QT could clean things up as long as they are low, but they can't even get that done.
I think this is coming off the back of that trade from Carl TZ. The Lord for Carl TZ trade is at the same level of that level of aggression underneath tier 1. They did not respect Falcon Esports' potential for a clapback, a massive clapback, and a cheap clapback at that. It cost him just but Benny's Purify. All the flickers are online.
Yep, I think it's by far very worth it. This allows Falcon Esports to actually have a lot of tempo on Liquid Echo. In this upcoming next fight, they're expecting that JP is going to try and make a flicker play, but they have to really consider their options, right? Who walks out first? And I think it's always got to be Royal Milk. He is the most expendable because Kid X's ultimate on that implosion is so very important here. And if he goes down too soon into that fight, then you're hoping for a lot of Royal Milk in like 1v3 and hold off while the front line gets melted away by Daxon as well as Benny.
Which is a bit of an oxymoron, a paradox, if you will, because if you want to burst down Royal Milk, you got to go all in. He has that passive. It's not like Royal Milk on the Terizla is a softie. So that gives Liquid Echo a lot to deal with. For the first time in this best of 5, they're down on kills, down on objectives, down on economy. So this Lord, I'm guessing Carl TZ can't just willingly throw his body at it again. Not the way that the past Lord has gone, the past couple of Lords have gone.
Well, I hope Dax has learned his lesson here, right? Don't stand too close to the wall. Especially don't be inside of the pit. I think even from the previous match, the traditional Akai versus Frederick matchup, that's the one thing you have to worry about. Now, ooh, okay, Bloodwings coming in from Benny. That's going to keep him alive for this upcoming fight. Nobody has been really able to close the distance on Benny so far, as long as they are playing in the traditional front to back.
Yep, check out this delayed entry by Benny Cutie, keeping himself scarce. I don't think Falcon Esports know that he's there. Here's the dance, a slight pull. Lord here at a third of its health. Royal Milk down to half. Oh no, are we approaching the point of no return? We might even get a full-on reset here. That's it. I mean, this does favor Liquid Echo. This allows for them to reset their positioning and allows for them to do a little bit of wave management, given that Falcon Esports pushed in mid, get a chunk of that mid tier 2.
Rather interesting. It looks like Falcon Esports now kind of probing at Liquid Echo is like, come on. Come on, Royal Milk is like, he's half HP. He's walking up even further. He's taking the true damage from Lord as well.
Yeah. That's what you want, right?
So just jump on in. And even then, FCon, they are smart. Dax, now with that purple buff, makes all the difference in this fight. They can deal with this and juggle it for as long as they want, and they might even get a split push in while they're at it.
Yep, their waves are a little stronger, better position this time around.
Whoa.
And we see here Sanford cleaning up. Kid X spot in the back line. Here comes the Lord, secured by Carl TZ. Penalty zone by Royal Milk, unable to punish Carl TZ as he exits with a heavy spin, gets caught up by the implosion. A Tempest of Blades in as well. A lot of ults thrown in to punish Carl TZ. And now, the ult from PX7 moving through. Benny Cutie, check out this angle. Coming in, jumping from the south. Ooh. Collapsing, intercepting. Benny with his Zaman Force, displaced. Liquid Echo don't want to dance here, don't want to fight here. As JP and Sanji fight him through. JP gets his immortality popped in. And he's gonna go down here unless they keep going. The shutdown by Benny Cutie.
But he gets taken down in trade, right? They both go down with the Luminous Lord starting to walk on out of here. Falcon Esports, they don't want to start losing turrets for free at this point of time, but they need to start clapping back. Let Dax do his own thing. The rest of us, we got to take this tier 2. We've got some housekeeping.
That's a super expensive comeback from Liquid Echo. Sure, they scored the Lord. Sure, they got a couple kills on the way out, but they paid the price, man. Look, the map became blue because of what they just did, or because of what Falcon Esports did to respond to their short-term comeback.
I think they understand that if they let that Lord start to push out the way that it did and Falcon Esports start walking up, they're going to be able to start stealing away the economy here, right? They can start stealing jungle camps, for an example. And I think that Liquid Echo wants to minimize that damage by trading proactively against Falcon Esports to keep them on their toes. But let's look at the gold distributions here, because overall, we are seeing that both gold laners are basically getting to their full build. I think at this point, 45 to 50,000. Okay, so that means Benny has extra surplus money for item swapping. Benny doesn't have that benefit just yet.
But I don't think Benny Cutie needs it. Looking at the way he's built right now, he just needs a better entry into a fight. Earlier on, he went in where Falcon Esports were clumped up, only half of them at half health. So he's not making the most of the Sky Piercer, not making the most of the Blade of Despair. And I don't know where Liquid Echo can find that angle, because they have to set it up the hard way. Carl TZ is putting the objectives on his back. Like, he's throwing his life and body at these things and is willing to die. So that's one member of yours. There's no other peel. There's no other real way to fight front to back against Falcon Esports, who can basically draw a straight line through you.
Exactly. And I think that Carl TZ is going to be the big player here who needs to kind of disrupt that positioning, right? But what's the most ideal? You're going to have Royal Milk kind of isolated by himself, maybe even Kid X, right? But at the same time, I think the most opportune moment probably will be having a fight by the pit or in lane. Once you start getting to those choke points in the jungle, as much as Carl TZ is like, maybe I can get like a 3-man like lockdown, I think that is more beneficial for Falcon Esports now that you're in tight corners.
Yeah, I'd reckon maybe fight where there's no objective. Fight when it's actually just heroes. Because the fact that Carl TZ has to think about his opponents and the major objective makes it a tougher call for Liquid Echo, because they also have to perfect the art of the turn. Now Carl TZ here, sandwiched by 3, PX7, Kid X, and Benny. I wonder if he knows he might just be baiting this out. Royal Mick responds. Look at the back line. Royal Mick catches 3. JP taken down. PX7 secures the kill. In comes Dax with delayed response. The implosion giving Benny Cutie a kill. On to Benny, and Carl TZ now down 3 for none so far. Falcon Esports are soaring.
I think they might be able to close out this game here. They got they've got 2 Ballista minions walking up to this crystal. Sanford, you gotta do something.
Oh no, that's it. Underneath the base, Salmon Force spelt in. 2-1. 2-1. The Burmese live on, forcing game 4.
Woo, boy! All right, we got a real series on our hands here, boys. Falcon
stopped all of the active CC and all of the big ticket team fight winning ults from Falcon Esports, and they also put, again, the aforementioned scaling hero into the hands of Benny Cutie, which I think sends a message. They want to make sure that, hey, even if this does go a little late, which by the way, games 2 and 3, games 1 and 3 went very long. Again, past 18 minutes, they want to make sure that Benny Cutie becomes a decisive win.
Well, I mean, with Liquid Echo on the blue side up against Falcon Esports on the red, I think this is really scary, right? Because even for JP, he's going to, imagine, he hits level 4, he's going to drop the portal, and not many people are going to take it, right? I think at this point, JP is going to play a very different role of influencing the lanes without having to call the entire team to make the big play.
Yep, I think you got it spot on. It's not all in, but which members matter at the time, and then they can do cleanup, which really, there is very little cleanup. It's not like they're playing an assassin meta. This is a meta, this is a lineup that could have happened like 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that Liquid Echo, one of the few interactions that could actually be very beneficial, let Falcon Esports make that play, right? Bait out these big ults, get chunked out, but just survive. And once you survive, you start recalling. When you're back at base, that's when JP comes in with a big fight to send you straight into enemy lines.
Which is what they were lacking in game number 3, the re-engage, the potential for the post-big time CC re-engage. And here you see Dax, you see Benny. They're on relatively expensive heroes. Like I'd say more the Harith. The Roger, he wants to snowball. But if he's not able to snowball, there's really not much he can do after he gets the farm, after he gets these objectives, which, by the way, I think, again, another point goes to Liquid Echo. I think they have very good objective control.
Yeah, I do think that, man, actually, I'm going to take that back. I think that Falcon Esports probably has it a little bit better, right? And they can technically hold Liquid Echo hostage around these areas thinking, hey, are we going to fight now? Are we going to, like, drop those big ults? For the first one, I think they should back off here. There's no reason to get involved just yet, especially since First Blood hasn't been cheap. Oh,
here we go. The CC, Kaltizi, gets his heavy spin and retribution on point. A freeze by PX7. Kid X in trouble, looking for the burst. JP coming in, the shortcut, who's coming through everybody. But too quickly, Falcon Esports has dispersed. Luckily, Benny Cutie can just re-exit.
Nicely done. Honestly, nicely done from both sides, right? I was really worried that Kid X might end up dying there, and I think that would have been a good gold surge for Liquid Echo. But for the most part, in that trade, Liquid Echo come up on top when it comes down to resources, battle spells as well. Majority of them are still up, and at the end of the day, they still got the turtle.
That's right. It's clean as compared to, you know, some of their engages in even game 1 and 3, right? Some of them came expensive. Here, they're playing as clean as possible.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting the Echo Express this time round, you know? The Liquid Express is going to have to take a step back. There's a lot of things that need to go right for them if they want to initiate cleanly.
Yep, the Liquid Stampede only really happens when it's a clear path. You can't go through speed bumps. There can't be no distractions. So they have to set up a solid early to mid so that eventually Benny Cutie becomes that decisive force in the late game.
Well, speaking of decisive forces, PX7 has been playing a really strong game, right? Let's not forget that naturally, as he scales up later and later and later, the more magic damage that he actually builds up really works well with him, right? Because the CC will be extended even longer per stat. So I think that Falcon Esports, they have a decent later stage of the game, but it really comes down to how many people can they catch in the giant fly swatting composition during the team fight.
Yeah, which they have 3 of. Again, you mentioned PX7, that's 1. Another would be Royal Milk, who seems to be a I'm offended specialist. So very fit.
He's very PC.
Yeah, he fits in 2024 on the internet. And then you have Kid X, right? Who we now know is amazing on the Tigreal, but he also now has a little bit of re-engage with the Minotaur, the Minoan Fury, and the Motivation Roar. So how about round 2 here in the Turtle? First objective was scored by Liquid Echo. Let's see if Falcon Esports now, with all of their ults online, if they can try and score this one.
It's not going to be as easy, right? I think, especially, just keep your eyes on like both Royal Milk and Kid X. They're looking for angles here.
Here we go. The shortcut coming in from a JP. Sanford walks through. Big Earth Shatter there. And then the big jump as well. Double Minoan Fury from both sides. Sanji draws first blood. We're having ground beef for lunch, folks. And now Benny, Cyclone Eye through, but the damage has been done. 3 for 9 plus the turtle. Thank you very much.
What? Let's look at the replay one more time. How did this go so badly for them, right? A majority of the members got absolutely blasted by JP's giant stun because they all corralled around him and weren't able to burst him down in time. And not to mention that even for PX7, he was completely out of that fight, but got some relevant CC, and they still lost. I think that they needed to initiate just a wee bit earlier, specifically Kid X. I think that Royal Milk could have taken his time a little bit more, especially since the battle spells weren't up in time. I think that Falcon Esports really need to, if they are going to play this war of attrition, start considering the bigger factors like battle spells and, most importantly, alt timings.
Yeah, I would assume there was a little anime moment between Sanji and Kid X where, okay, I see you ramp up with the Minoan Fury the first wave, and then Sanji just, in the nanosecond after, I also do it, which I think turned the tide of that fight. If there was no response from Sanji, if there was no Minoan Fury after the Minoan Fury, that would have been a Falcon Esports fight, definitely.
Absolutely, and that's something that they need to really consider, right? Have that foresight. This is, okay, you made the first mistake, that's totally fine. 3 kills go over to Liquid Echo. It's not the end of the world. And I think most importantly, we have to look at Benny. He's already like gone with a quick lane swap down to the bottom side of the map just to make sure that Kid X and even Royal Milk can get involved for the upcoming turtle happening in 22 seconds.
All this while, Liquid Echo asserting dominance in mid. Falcon Esports reciprocating as well, hunkering down with 3. And now the river flows. Faster rotations coming in, and who's going to ride the wave? Sanford and Kid X. Oh yeah, they're all going to try to get this last turtle here. Solid setup though in the top lane. Liquid Echo just got a passive push.
Do they really want to do this? I feel like not yet. I feel like Dax is already... Oh,
too late. The fight has started. Here we go. I'm offended by Royal Milk displacing them all. Dax in trouble. Sanji gets the kill. Pushing back Royal Milk, Kid X, and PX7. And that's all she wrote. Falcon Esports dispersed. You get nothing, good sir. Oh, wait. JP, not gonna spot Benny. Not this time.
Okay, not this time. He doesn't cancel it out. At least there's still some hope here. Rather interesting decision coming in from Falcon Esports, right? Like, they know for a fact. They're risking it for the biscuit, thinking that it might be a 4v4 and Benny QT ain't gonna be there. But they didn't lane swap. They didn't see any rotation. They had no information. This was just pure game sense, hoping and praying that it's gonna be enough. And now, because of that, Carl is significantly ahead of the curve in terms of EXP, and Dax is falling further and further behind. He's stuck on a win talker right now.
That's why Falcon Esports had all the onus in the world to be the aggressive team. Oh, Sanji, anime-like reflexes, dodging that freeze, keeping himself alive, still denying Falcon Esports anything on the map.
Literally just told PX7, not today, kid. Not today.
Nope.
It could go even... Oh.
Here we go, JP from the other side, popping the shortcut. Who's coming through? Frigid Ice, no one home. The Zaman Force and the double Minnow and Fury one more time. And there's a KO on the Kid X. Royal Milk and Benny follow through as well. Still nothing on the board for the Burmese. Benny Cutie gets a double on the way out.
And that's going to accelerate him way further ahead. Let's look at the replay one more time, because this was a great angle, right? Once that shortcut comes in, the counter engage from Kid X, and they realize they don't have enough damage. Benny can only hit one target at a time, and Dax is a little too far behind to actually supplement it. Now look, Carl Teasy getting disrespectful because he knows how strong he is, and the one shot, almost there, almost.
Oh, the time traveler coming in from odd angles, like Tenet up in this.
Oh man, it feels like they've done this before, and now they're just playing this in reverse, in real time finally. As the Lord does spawn, I think the only hope that Falcon Esports has is whether or not they can actually catch Benny QT off, and that's under a couple of conditions. One, force him to use that Purify, and somehow Royal Milk pulls him all the way back with a flicker.
Oh wow, all this while you were laying down the options, Benny QT just blitzes the Lord.
He just does it himself.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, Gideon, you go ahead, lay down the win cons. I'm just going to take the massive objective. What is the gold lead now? Almost 10K, sir.
Exactly.
Almost 10K.
Yeah, that's why I respect Benny QT. At least he gives me the time to actually talk about it. But now that they have the Lord, hopefully they can get an inhibitor. And honestly, it's starting to look like a checkmate angle.
Yeah, Falcon Esports, good news and bad news. Good news is, underneath these turrets, they have all the more better punishing power. Maybe the double Minnow and Fury situation might not be as bad. But bad news is, they're down on firepower. We're going to go back to the problem. Again, chicken and the egg. You get the CC, where's the damage? You don't get the damage in, how do you plant the CC? So now look at this, a trio lane push. Mid's got a wave, top's got a wave, Lord is down bottom, and Liquid Echo have masterfully orchestrated the push.
I think that it's really important for them that Liquid Echo take as many... Oh, Royal Milk's in trouble.
Oh, dodges the heavy spin though, so he will live, but I couldn't say the same for this tier 2 in mid.
But these inhibitors, right, that's the most important part. If Liquid Echo can at least take one of them, that's already a huge win, as the second waves is starting to... Oh!
I mean, I'm saying this true for both Bennies, and now the fight continues. The Zaman Force, the Minnow and Fury, they still live. The pull from Royal Milk, Benny Cutie punishes him. 3 defenders left in Falcon Esports base as a wave stands in mid. The flicker onward, Earth Shatter, the full combo. Sanford still standing. Still no one falls. Liquid Echo inside Falcon Esports' base.
They need a wave somewhere if they want to end the game, but Death Timers, Benny's going to be back in time, and same goes for Royal Milk. Falcon Esports has another opportunity to fight back, but it's looking extremely grim.
Here we go, the shortcut coming in. Kid X might get bursted down. Benny Cutie gets the kill served up to him. He says, thanks, 40, thanks. And now the base up next. Carl Teasy plants the heavy spin. The base is going to fall. So will the Burmese. Falcon Esports takes the bow. Liquid Echo wins 3-1.
Oh my goodness, what a series here. TLPA just showing why they are above the rest, why they cream of the crop. And you can even see that even Kid X, all he could do was just applause. What a performance coming in from TLPH. You fly above the mountains here. They couldn't see the horizon just yet.
Not on this range.
Not on this range, unfortunately. But man, they do, as you mentioned, have incredible heart. Despite having a bad performance in game number 1, they continue to fight through it and